Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button. And if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. J-Hope, Jack in the Box. J-Hope is a Korean rapper, singer, and 1/7 of the international phenomenon known as BTS. Really got into them about 2 years ago completely on a whim. Really just sheer curiosity, plus that was when they really started to break through into the mainstream here in the West, and that really helped kick off my love for K-pop. Now hearing this announcement that the group is branching off to do solo material, I was more excited than I think a lot of people were. And the first to announce their solo endeavors was J-Hope, and his solo debut album is here, titled Jack in the Box. Let's not waste any more time, let's just dive in. What are my thoughts on Jack in the Box? Let's find out as I review it, track by track. We will start with the singles, with there only being one of them, with that being More, which is a very unique and tantalizing lead-off single choice, completely abandoning J-Hope's pop rap material he released for Hope World back in 2018, instead jumping headfirst into punk rock focused production, almost a bit of nu metal maybe, and this track has warmed up on me a lot. There's just so many segments to this track. The clapping snare, a simple drum pattern to open the song, that rumbling permeated bass, this fiery chugging chorus with ignited riffing, and J-Hope's echoed impassioned vocals which suddenly transition into his cleaner, more fluid flow for the verses. I also like the lyrics about how he wants to have a successful, prospering career, but he knows that fame and money aren't going to be the keys to that success. It may be an off-putting track for outsiders expecting a K-pop song, but give it some time, it's done tremendous work for me. Excellent song. Now for the rest of the tracks. Opener intro, which is just that, a brief minute intro with some female narration retelling the story of the mythological Pandora's box and the opening of it, releasing many curses onto humanity and only leaving one thing behind, with that being hope, which in my opinion is a pretty genius way of connecting his stage name. It is an intro after all, I'm not going to keep it around, but I do feel like it adds a lot to the album experience. Pandora's Box being the first true song on the record, and it kicks off in a bit of an eerie way with this horror-like high-pitched piano. After a bit of that, the track drops down heavily with this quaking bass just resting underneath the authentic percussion. J-Hope flows over this exceptionally well, adding some charisma as well as he always does. I also love how this chorus just dissipates a little bit, leaving a seriously potent boom-bap energy in its wake, and that second verse has plenty of stylistic changes, continuously appealing, genre-bending, such a fun track, and serves as a fantastic opening taste for what to expect. Amazing song. Stop is a pretty solid song, not my personal favorite though, but if you want J-Hope delivering non-stop, no pun intended, bars and flow, you'll get it with this one. As in, it's purely a bar track. There's no chorus, it's all verses all the time here, with the only semblance of a hook being Hope repeating the song title at least once per verse. The production on this track is very nice, yet again leaning into the boom bap style. This time all the way throughout with a bass undercurrent and nice punchy drums. It's also one of the more static cuts on the record, really doesn't change up at all. It's a solid tune, but I'm not fawning over it like the earlier tracks. Equal Sign really flows nicely from the previous track, Stop. It maintains that boom bap exterior but has a nice funk to it, and I love it. This may just be my favorite track on the album. You still have that clapping of the drum, but now it's being complemented by some funky bass, vast pulsating synth work, and extra cutesy chimes to amplify the poppier nature of the song. Hope remains the indelibly charismatic host he is, so smooth and suave over this beat, and he even gets to flex his singing chops a little bit, which are not bad at all. And lyrically, the track is a sunny message to just being a decent human being. It doesn't cost anything to be kind. As long as we accept each other for our differences, we can all live on this planet equally. Yeah, this is definitely a favorite of mine. I see why it is for many others as well. Music Box Reflection is a little interlude here, just featuring the sound of this music box being wound up that slowly adds a thick layer of percussion underneath. It's got a solid melody. It's also a little bit creepy with these added horror-like effects being added in for the last few seconds. It's like when you watch one of those movies of like possessed dolls or children's stuff and you hear that kind of melody. It's okay, it's an interlude, not eager to keep it around though. What If serves as an amazing transitional piece from the music box interlude, and I love how it starts off with this high-pitched key melody only for the track to drop, and this one really comes through with some heat. The bass and drum work have some nice flair to it, and I love the affected vocal assistance too, giving the track a bit of an extra melody. But for me, that dance chorus is one of the hardest parts of the entire album. Everything just amps up a tiny bit while Hope gets a bit more aggressive in his delivery. It's a bit of a repetitive hook, but it packs some nice tenacity, especially for that final chorus. One of my favorites of the core tracks on the album. Safety Zone mellows the record out a little bit, giving us an R&B, easygoing, light on the ears jam. I love the background vocalists. They add some nice soul and a bit of an uplifting nature to the song. The strings are gorgeous and the percussion helps tie everything together neatly. One thing I'm not crazy about here, though, is Hope's quicker rap flow. I think it's the first time on this record he actually feels a little bit clunky and out of place. I would love to hear him deliver a more singing-dominant performance like on Equal Sign, and it's not like that Trouble is just for one part. He raps the entire song in that fashion, and it just doesn't have the vibe it could. The lyrics are pretty vulnerable, retelling the story of how he's had to live up to these impossible expectations and crippling dedication to everything, and being unsure where his safe zone truly lies, where he can just go to relax. I love the message here and Hope delivers it with such passion, but in execution, this one just didn't really click with me. Future is a pretty solid track. I don't really have too many things to add about this one. The production is smooth, drum work is well executed, but this is another track that shows Hope experimenting a bit with his voice as he sings yet again on the chorus. It's not as staunch as Equal Sign, but it's not a bad performance at all, and of course his rapping is another amazing effort here. It's probably one of the poppiest tracks on the record, which of course works for me, so yeah, I like this one. And finally the closer, Arson, which was actually a second single, but that was the day the album released, and this track is a pure rap banger. That percussion really resonates, these foggy keys lingering in the background add a more menacing charisma to the song, and of course that bass just resting under everything adds an extra impactful nature to the song. This is the kind of track where Hope's rap side really thrives. The way he can just flow over this with his unique cadence presents an infectious energy you just cannot get out of your head. Adore this track, great single choice. Overall, Jack in the Box is a very unique and daring album. It strays away from a lot of K-pop stereotypes, and it really just shows one idol diving into his influences and his psyche, and creating some infectious rock-tinged hip-hop tracks. I wouldn't say every single experiment on here worked. There were a few songs on here that felt a bit clunky, a little bit jarring, and that kind of prevents me from truly loving this album, but I have to commend J-Hope for taking the ambition in the first place and cranking out some damn good tunes. If you're a bit on the fence regarding K-pop and the whole culture surrounding it, I'd recommend giving this a listen, purely because it's not really a K-pop album, so I think outsiders can really appreciate this project outside of that K-pop bubble. As a whole though, I'm feeling a 7.5 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.